Hey everybody, Alex here for Nerdy Inc. coming at you with another episode of Our Favorite Frontier, the only Star Trek podcast on the internet that's hosted by me and Nick. Hey Nick.
Hey Alex, how you doing?
I'm doing something.
I'm sad, honestly.
I'm really glad we finally hit this episode because this was there's a lot going on this episode, and I'm really glad that we're finally addressing it.
I'm devastated.
What episode are we talking about? Well, we're talking about Season 1, Episode 23, Skin of Evil.
Captain's log, stardate 41601.3. We are crossing through the Z Lapis sector, where we will rendezvous with Shuttlecraft 13, carrying Deanna Troi, who is returning from a conference. Because engineering is involved in preventative maintenance on our dilithium crystals, we are presently traveling on impulse power.
Nick, what did you think of Skin of Evil?
It was a tragic episode. A lot happened, but a lot didn't happen at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I would describe that.
I don't even know where to start with this episode, so I guess let's just go ahead and just tackle the main plot here. Deanna Troi and unnamed other people crash land on a planet, and there's a big tar monster who's like, I'm evil. And he's not letting anyone get to the shuttlecraft when the Enterprise tries to help them. He kills Tasha Yar, and he talks to Deanna Troi. Deanna Troi's like, he's a tragic man. He was left here. And he's like, I'm evil. And then Picard talks to him, and he's like, I'm evil. And then they leave him there, and then they have a funeral. And that's kind of the whole episode.
Yeah, I mean, in more or less words.
So let's talk about the big thing that this episode is known for, the death of Tasha Yar. Tell me about your feelings about this, Nick. What went through your head?
Well, how about the fact that she died and I didn't realize it at first, and I'm like, wait, no, she's not going to just die like that. They're going to bring her back. And then she died. She just died with no... He didn't even try. He just threw her, and she's dead. And it was anticlimactic.
At what point did you realize, she's actually dead, and this isn't some, like, hokey sort of trick?
Honestly, when Beverly was brought her to the ward,
okay,
I was like... I also knew that she was going to be leaving the show.
Mm-hmm.
In some sort of way. But I was like, there's no way they're going to have her die, bring her back, and then have her be, in my theory, some sort of spy.
Yes, you had that theory based on the episode in which there's a conspiracy check going on the Enterprise because they think that there's something going on. And your theory was that Tasha Yar, because you knew she's no longer on the show, your theory was that she was the conspirator and was going to be kicked off.
And that would be great television in the modern age, but this is the 1980s with what seems to be some amateur writing going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I can talk more about that as we progress in this episode, because to have a main character die, they handle the episode completely wrong.
I agree. I also agree to what your sort of fan, not theory, I guess your what should have been theory is way better also, because the conspiracy that in season 1 they had this conspiracy, and Denise Crosby did say she wanted to leave the show. I don't know why they just didn't have that written in 2 episodes later. Could she really not spare 2 more weeks on the set? That's kind of surprising. Overall, they did this because Denise Crosby wanted out. She wanted to leave the show. And one of my favorite...
I don't blame her.
See, I don't blame her because season 1 was ass. But at the same time, she kind of... And this is a quote from the venerable Rich Evans, who's a internet comedian who I really enjoy. He said that Denise Crosby, in leaving Star Trek The Next Generation at the end of season 1, she is the Pete Best of Star Trek.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If this show gets as good as you say...
Yeah,
she definitely is.
She is Pete Best, drummer of the Beatles who left and Ringo Starr replaced him. The fact that I needed to explain who Pete Best is all you need to know. So yeah, Denise Crosby, Tasha Yar dies. Let's talk about the monster, Armis, who. Okay, so you want to know what he reminds me of visually?
He is dramatic as all hell.
Yeah, he reminds
Who
me.
does he remind you of?
He reminds me visually of a bunch of tar, obviously because he's black and goopy. But if
wow.
Wait, I'm not done yet. If you had dumped tar all over Leslie Nielsen in The Naked Gun when he puts on the condom. That's who he reminds me of. Just
that voice of his is outrageously horrendous.
He's outrageously horrendous, and he also acts like a 2-year-old, which I guess if you're evil, a toddler, a 2-year-old is probably actually a fairly good way to act.
Well, he is shedded the skin of. He's the evil shedded the skin of
a better community, yeah.
Yeah, so like he's gonna have all like evil, and I think is a very childish personality trait.
Yeah, it's a very simplistic, because evil, what is evil? Evil is I hate to say relative, but it kind of is relative.
I'm not gonna say that they did a bad interpretation of what pure evil would be, because I feel like pure evil would be that maniacal and random and childish. I feel like some evil plus intelligence causes what society would conceive as pure evil. But I think evil at its base root would be just as childish, because it's a very childish thing to be like, and selfish, just to be like, I'm going to be evil and just fuck with these people for no reason.
And the thing is, this brand of evil is very chaotic. And I guess when I think of pure evil, I think of something much more meticulous and crafty. So I guess I when I see this as evil, I see this as more as like a child's interpretation of evil rather than actual evil. But that's I guess that's arbitrary in terms of defining evil. What my big issue with this episode is that they don't actually solve the problem. They're just like it's very clear that this skin of evil has been abandoned, and it's alone, and it's very empty inside. And Deanna Troi sort of gets through to it, and you understand that this is something to be pitied. You feel bad for it. This poor creature was basically pulled off like a used condom. and
that's what he is, though. He's a black tarry used condom.
Yeah, and just left there. And the show actually does a good job of making you kind of feel bad for it. It didn't want to be created. It's just there. But then Picard is like, aha, you suck, you're evil. All you're going to be is evil. And then they just run away and just leave it there to just be alone and sad.
What does Riker say? Why does he need to get to the crew members? What does he say?
He says, we feel all life is valuable.
And then they just leave this sad monster, which you understand its origin and its arc. And then you're just like, yeah, you kind of killed Yar, so we're just going to leave you to be miserable. And then scream like an insane person as we leave.
I'm not taking you anywhere.
Yeah,
his scream at the end. Insert the scream at the end that he does.
I already did.
It's fantastic. Ugh.
Yeah, good catch there with the hypocrisy of Starfleet based on Riker's statement versus Picard's statement. Good call.
I'm getting good at this.
You are.
I'm getting good at this. Show's no match for me.
Yeah, it's true. It's just I guess I was just kind of astounded by how I guess they couldn't really have time to think of the problem and how to solve it.
Well, do you think they wrote this episode specifically to kill her off?
I guess that's the question that, hey, Alex, you got Wikipedia in your hand. Let's see what the Wikipedia says.
We've all seen death on TV. You can talk about Lost to even, honestly, when I was watching this, I was thinking of The Blacklist. I don't know the characters' names, but one the main characters of the Blacklist in season 1, they get shot and killed. They did it near the end of the episode, and it was emotional and it was shocking. And I was like, if you're gonna kill off someone like that, that's how you're gonna do it. You don't do it at the beginning of the episode. But this is like you're 12 minutes in, not even, and she gets hit, like, they've been attacked before, and then she's just dead. No build up, nothing to really have me emotionally attached besides kind of confused and shocked, but not in the good way. Kind of in the why they do it this way type.
I agree. Yar dying should have happened with about 15 to 20 minutes left of the episode, when it looks like it should have looked like they were making progress in negotiating with this monster. And it's like, oh, we might be getting through to it. And then for whatever reason, the monster snaps back and goes, no, and revolts, and it fights back hard and kills Tasha then. And that would have been your low point.
That would have been the way it should have been.
Yeah. Wikipedia has no information about basically if this episode was rushed or not to kill Tasha Yar. So we don't know. But yeah, it was very clumsy because granted, I knew what was coming, but the first time I watched it, I didn't believe she was dead until the funeral, and I was like, oh, they're actually really committing to this. It's not the monster is going to somehow do some weird, I've been wrong this whole time, I'm so sorry, I've learned my lesson, here, let me show you, and he gives his life. That's what I thought was going to happen the first time, is that he sort of somehow revives her
no, there's no redemption.
Yeah. Nope, it's
before we get into the funeral, which is what I really
have so much to say about the funeral.
Oh my god, this might be our longest episode because of the funeral.
Yes.
But let me just point out something I noticed. I think this is the first time that we see Deanna Troi actually use her power for nothing irrelevant.
Yeah, she's very well used this episode.
I think she's the best part of the episode.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the first time I'm going to say that. You kind of understand how she talks and kind of, I don't want to use the word manipulate because it kind of sounds harsh the way we use it, but she kind of manipulates the monster into kind of extracting the feelings of him. His low points of energy were when he was consulting with her, and she was able to really, I think she was utilized very well, and it was the first time I didn't think she was worthless.
Yeah, that's very, very, very true. Other characters who I thought were used well, I really, really enjoyed Data in this episode when the monster is trying to mess with them, and he's trying to get them to suffer and to fight and to be basically be conflicted, and the resoluteness that they all sort of, they all stand firm in their beliefs, and the way Data reasons his way through the monster's problems I really enjoyed, particularly when he's like, how would you feel being the instrument of their death? And Data, obviously calm because he's a robot, he goes, I would not be the instrument of their death, you're going to make me do it, it's your fault, not mine. And just trying to get them to snap and break and beg, and none of them play ball. I did enjoy that aspect of the episode.
I mean, there were parts that could have made this episode probably one of the best. I mean, done right in episodes I've seen where main characters die, they usually end up being the best episodes of those seasons, or sometimes even the entire series. And they honestly had, I mean, it's early in conception. We're not really attached to these characters right now, but that could have probably been one of the best episodes of the series if they just did it right. There were some parts that were really provoking, and you get to really see the attributes of a lot of the people. You see Riker going down the field and trying to talk, and seeing him fail, and Picard coming down to save the day. You see Deanna talking. You see Worf even doing a lot more than you usually see him do now that he's kind of the head of security there. I mean, you have everyone involved. Data, kind of be able to break down the problem. Beverly, trying to revive Yar. It could have been a fantastic episode, but it was just an extremely subpar episode with a lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
Which brings me.
Wait. So.
Okay, we're going to stop.
So in summation, move Tasha Yar's death to the end of the second act with about 10-15 minutes left in the episode. Make the monster not be a petulant 2-year-old who basically throws fits, make the evil a little bit less tantrumy and more actually full of malice. And really, those couple changes plus make his design a little less stupid. And you've actually got yourself a pretty strong episode. But those couple mistakes just really sank it.
It was the first time I think every actor did well.
Yeah, the team worked well. Everything was balanced in terms of what the characters were supposed to be doing. They all had a reason to be there. Yeah, that was all done really well. But also, the episode was a little bit shorter than every episode because it needed to devote 5 or 6 minutes at the end to the funeral. Let's talk about the funeral. With a couple minutes left in the episode, they go into the holodeck and load up the Windows wallpaper, and they walk in.
Oh, it looks amazing.
And coincidentally all stand in a line in exactly the same order that Tasha Yar is going to address them in her hollow memorial. And somehow also Tasha's memorial, without any of them having heard it, they all know exactly the only 6 people she's going to address. She didn't have any other crew on the Enterprise that they thought to invite. They just instinctively knew, oh, we're the other ones it's going to be for. They all go into the Windows wallpaper and hear this funeral.
When did she make that?
I don't know.
The thing is, she had to have made it recently.
Yeah, she must have deleted her old one and put a new one in because Riker was not on the ship at the beginning of the season. He was coming out of the Enterprise, as was Crusher, I believe, and as was Wesley. So these are all new faces. So she made it in the last year.
You think they update their video eulogies every year or every 6 months?
I don't know. That's a great question. What is the protocol for Starfleet death preparation?
Okay, let's talk about just not character-wise. Let's talk about writing-wise and just set. As you said, the set design, the holodeck is horrendous. It's the Windows 98 background.
Yeah.
It's just gateway. That's all I saw.
Mm-hmm.
Beverly changes her clothes midway. She walks in with green.
A color that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
She
walks in with green.
There's no rank of green.
It changes the blue, and then it changes the green when she leaves again.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like if everyone wore green, like it was like a funeral color or something, okay. But everyone wore their regular shirt, but she was like, I'm just not going to wear my regular shit. Oh, okay, fine, I'll change, but we're not going to reshoot any of the scenes.
The Beverly's, and I guess the medical and science people have been throwing me off all season because they're very, very blue, and for the rest of TNG, I think it's season 2 and on, all through Deep Space Nine and Voyager as well. It's more of a teal, and so this blue and this green. I don't know where they're getting green from.
I thought my eyes were fucked up. I thought I had to go to the doctor. I didn't know what was going on with my eyes because I couldn't believe that they would just do that, make such a dumb mistake like that.
I almost wonder if, granted, I should probably look this up, if it was a color correction thing, like she was wearing blue and it was messing up their blue screen, and so they had to switch it to green so that they could accurately put the Windows background in.
But then she's wearing blue later in the scene.
I know. I'm just trying to give them the benefit of the doubt here.
Well, we can't talk about benefits of the doubt because let's just talk about the fact that Yara gave that speech in general.
Mm-hmm.
What a colossal waste of time. I'm feeling bad for someone who they killed off without any mercy and now I had to listen to them talk for 5 minutes about how they're departing the show. Did she even want to do that scene? Like, what actor would want to do that scene? It's a horrible scene. That is probably the worst thing I've seen the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather have Ferengis hang out with the Traveler on the sexy planet where you trip in a bed of flowers and you die. I'd rather have that episode than what I saw.
I understand, and I don't disagree with you.
Like, it was just so... It was almost as bad as her drugs are bad speech.
Yeah, Tasha's had a bunch of winners recently, hasn't she?
Yeah, she, you know what? I'm glad she's dead. If they're just going to make her do dumbass PSAs, I don't need that in my Star Trek. I apologize.
That's okay. but I want to say I think we're over the hump. I don't think it's going to get much worse than this episode.
Really?
Yeah. Granted, there's 3 episodes left season 1. There's We'll Always Have Paris is the next one, which I don't really remember. There's Conspiracy, which I remember very well. And then there's The Neutral Zone. And then we're done. I don't remember We'll Always Have Paris or The Neutral Zone. They don't stick out to me as particularly terrible episodes, so hopefully they're not. But then season 1 is over, so I think we're over the hump at this point.
And then Riker gets a beard, and it's great.
Riker gets a beard. Worf and Geordi both get yellow shirts, which is how I remember them. Worf's makeup stops being awful. And there's one other change, one other shakeup that I won't say because I want you to just I want you to experience it. Well, I guess that wraps up this episode. This was a rough one. Yes. But we're almost there. I'm so excited to start being good again. Join us next week when our episode will be We'll Always Have Paris. And if you enjoyed this episode, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff is much appreciated, and we will see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Our Favorite Frontier is hosted by Alex Russo and Nick Caladona, edited by Alex Russo, and produced by Nerdy Inc. Be sure to follow us on YouTube to catch all of our videos, as well as like us on Facebook, Twitter, and whatever other social media we have.